بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Human beings, we like to sort of write stories and scripts and narratives for ourselves. So we write these stories for ourselves in terms of, yes, I have a timeline where I'm going to get married to the handsome prince and have this wonderful sort of education and career and beautiful children and this very kind of like storied existence, right? That's the script that we write for ourselves. But then something called Allah Ta'ala's qada and qadr is going to intervene, right? And this is part of being human. And then all of a sudden we're experiencing different different types of loss. And then we're experiencing the realities of maybe being a refugee or having to go into exile, right? And this is the reality of so many Muslims because of war and conflict and famine, for example. Or maybe it's the experience of someone had their dream job and they lost their job. Again, a reality with COVID, subhanAllah, or loss of health, that person enjoyed robust health and then all of a sudden they didn't have that anymore. Or in a more general sense, like I said, we write a script, but then, and we have these aspirations, expectations, but then we deal with the reality of what happens when our expectations are thwarted, right? There's a disappointment, a tangible or palpable disappointment there. It could be in the form, say, of a marriage ending, say, as a divorce, right? If you were to talk to people that are divorced, they would probably say that they envisioned life as a fairy tale at one point, right? It could be in the form of loss of a pregnancy, and then finally loss of a loved one. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is that one of the things that was very helpful that I learned from the therapist with whom I worked was that he explained to me that we as human beings, even though these appear to be very different forms of loss, i.e., not getting into my dream college, for example, is definitely a far cry from somebody that's lost, for example, a loved one, someone that was close to them, right? So please, I want you to understand, I'm not minimizing anyone's loss, but in terms of how we respond psychologically and emotionally, it's interesting in terms of that we actually respond to these in similar ways. Even though they're quite different, we respond to them in similar ways in the sense of we look at this as this is a form of loss. We feel a sense of sadness, sorrow, disappointment. And I know it sounds strange, like maybe for the person that didn't get their dream job or get into the dream college or whatever. However, we actually go into like a sense of mourning over this. That's actually how we're going to respond cognitively, emotionally, psychologically. We actually mourn this as a loss, even though, of course, they have a different kind of ranking in terms of the hierarchy here, right? In terms of the severity or the immediacy. So I want you all to understand that. And the reason why I'm saying that is to say that you should never think that you are a bad Muslim or you're ungrateful or that your iman is lacking. Yes. If your response to a disappointment is to, experience a sense of mourning over that. It's actually quite natural, quite normal.